Welcome to the Andrea Engstrom Show. I am passionate about helping you break through to your next level of abundance, success, and freedom so that you can create the life you desire and inspire others to do the same. I'm your host, Andrea Engstrom, and on today's show, we're going to talk about how to become 1% better every week. So, starting off the school year, I've started feeling a little stressed and a little overwhelmed. And if you've got kids going back to school, you probably know what I'm talking about. But in our house, we're not only both entrepreneurs running multiple businesses each, but we also homeschool. And so back to school for us was a little bit different than it is in some households. We weren't going back to school shopping and checking off lists, but we were creating our own new lists about what is our daily life going to look like as we're getting started with schoolwork and adding that to our daily and weekly routine. And so I spent some time this weekend really thinking about what was stressing me out, like what is making me feel so overwhelmed right now. And so I wrote some things down, and I want to walk you through a process today that I went through that was super helpful. And then I'm going to share some systems that I created so that it can inspire you on what can you do to become more efficient. How can you get 1% better in your life, in your household, in your business moving forward? Sound good? All right, let's get started. So first, I focused on what is the problem? What is overwhelming me? And I made a list, and called this like a friction list. What is creating friction in our lives? And so this is really about what is sucking energy, what is causing dissatisfaction, what is making me feel stressed out, what is the source of my overwhelm? Where are there points in our weekly routines that create chaos or that kind of take us off track from what we wish our life looked like to just being in response mode instead of like taking charge mode? Okay. And so I want you to try this out. Make a list of what is causing friction in your life. And think about this in every area of your life. And so this can be when it comes to being on track with your health goals. It can be, things that you're dissatisfied in how your relationship is going, on interactions with the kids. It can be about how how is it going with your morning routine or with getting things done in your business, or are you having enough fun lately, or are you just constantly head down and working? What are the things that you are dissatisfied with in your life? And I want you to think in categories. And for me, I realized that the source of a lot of friction in my own life was related to how our household is running. During the summertime, we tend to get a little more chill, and we don't have as many routines because there's not school in process for the kids. And so I wrote down the problem so that I could get really clear about what is it that I needed to solve. And so the problem was I need to get work done. My husband needs to get work done. But I also want to make sure our household runs smoothly and that the kids have what they need for an awesome learning experience. And so I was thinking more specifically, what is causing the biggest pinch points in our household? And it is things like meals, dishes, laundry, general cleaning, monitoring kids' schoolwork. That's what was kind of ahead of me. And it's not that we don't do housework during the summer, we're just not piling on an additional level or layer of responsibility, which is making sure that the kids have a quality education happening in the midst of us working in our businesses. And so I asked myself this question: what can I do to be at least 1% more efficient in managing our home each week? What could I do to make things easier juggling the kids' school while growing my business? And y'all know that I love this question. And it comes from a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And I wrote this down, and I'm going to pull my journal out so I remember how I wrote it. I said, what's the one thing we could do as a family to allow Josiah and I the time to work how we need to, that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Because that's the real point of friction, is that we are already busy entrepreneurs. We're running multiple businesses, and we're trying to add something to it that is if we're honest, the most important thing, which is making sure that our kids are doing well in the process, that they have a quality education and that we have a plan for that. And so I said, okay, what's the one thing that I could do? And as I looked through the lists of all the things that need to be managed, it came to me and I'm going to share it with you. And so, what I did this week was I created a daily checklist for each kid that includes all the things that I normally have to remind them to do. And so it's like all the getting ready stuff. It's like brush your teeth, brush your hair, did you put on deodorant? You're getting stinky. But then also making their own breakfast, making lunch. It was now adding to it is the schoolwork that they need to do. Each of the subjects that they're responsible to complete to a certain level every day that they're doing schoolwork. And so I put all of those things on a checklist. And then every morning I print out a checklist, a physical paper copy. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll show you. This is the physical paper copy that each of my kids get, something like this. And on it, they get to go through and they are sort of self-regulating, taking the initiative because they are so clear on what the expectations are for them each day, including things they need to do for themselves, things they need to do for our household to be a good contributing member to the household, and then also specifically schoolwork. And I added something really cool that is helpful I think is helpful to anybody who's trying to get into a good routine and accomplish things that sometimes are things that feel like drudgery, is I added a reward. So at the bottom of the checklist, it says, is all your schoolwork completed? Write 2 sentences about something you learned. Show mom or dad your checklist. And if you do all of these things, you've earned 1 hour of screen time. And so that's what they really want, right? They'd rather be playing video games or watching a show or something instead of doing schoolwork, instead of doing chores. But they get a little bit of time doing something that they really enjoy as a reward for completing the hard things first. And I want to tell you, I ordered the list in order of what are the hardest subjects that take the biggest brain power. And we have rules like when you're doing that subject, you do it first. You sit at a table with, upright in a chair. And then as the day goes on, I encourage them to move from place to place so that they're not just stuck in one spot. They can sit comfortably on the couch or, on the floor. I don't care. Doing the next subjects that are more fun and more easy. And so in our house, we start with math as the first subject because it's the thing that takes the biggest brain power for them. And so everything this week so far is going really smooth. And I just feel such a sigh of relief. And it feels like not just a 1% improvement. It feels like a 50% improvement, honestly, in that particular area. I feel like we've ironed out a lot of things that were causing friction or that I would call pinch points or causing energy sucks or dissatisfaction. And so part of why this works, and I want you to be thinking about how this applies to your personal situation. Part of why this works is because we are eliminating decision fatigue. We are eliminating too many choices. Like, well, I could do this or this or this or this. And so sometimes we just get stuck in well, what should I do next? Right. But when we've mapped out exactly what we intend to do with our day, and this is a analog sort of version of time blocking, right? For my kids, because they're not ruled by a calendar the way that I am in my business and throughout my day. As I time block what I intend to do at what times, and I try to block the things that take the biggest brain power first. And so I essentially took that system and put it into an analog system for the kids that they can physically check their list off every day. And so doing the hard things first, eliminating the decision fatigue of trying to figure out what should I do next? What do I want to do next? Right. And just taking that decision out of it. And so if you can create a schedule or a process for yourself that incorporates some of those principles for productivity every day, you're going to get 1% better in your own household, in your own business. I want to share a couple of other things that I do, and that's kind of coming to mind for me as we're talking about this. If y'all ever notice that I wear the same shirt a lot? So this is a tank top. If you're watching this on a video on YouTube or something, I wear the same style of tank top almost every single day. It's comfortable. I like the way it looks on me. And so when I was buying this shirt, I bought this shirt in two colors, and I found myself every day looking for that shirt. And sometimes it was in the laundry, right? And I was like, enough of this. How can I eliminate decision fatigue, streamline getting ready every morning, take a note from Steve Jobs, who wore kind of a black t-shirt, jeans uniform every single day, and eliminate the decision fatigue of getting dressed every day. And so I went back to that same store. I got it at Target. It was like $8 or $9, right? And I went and I bought 5 more in the same color, and I bought a few more in other colors so that I always can find the shirt that I want to wear. And I know that that may be boring, but I bought it in colors that I think look pretty good on me. And I changed my jewelry out, and I changed, whatever. And so my uniform every day is kind of my go-to shirt and my go-to jeans. And I have those same jeans in like 3 different colors. So I always know I can grab a pair that look good on me, that fit well. If they stop fitting well, I go buy a different size. Like, don't mess with it, right? Eliminate decision fatigue as much as you can, and eliminate the need to do laundry as often as some people feel like they need to because they want to wear their favorite thing again and it's dirty, right? We've all got things like that in our life where if we would just eliminate the decision making process, some of us need to go through our closets and just get rid of the things that are visual clutter that are keeping us from being able to get ready as quickly as possible. And I think especially in the mundane things that we know happen every single day, if we can create systems, if we can eliminate chaos or confusion, eliminate decisions that need to be made, that's going to allow us to not only be 1% more efficient on a regular basis, we can be better and better, but also it doesn't drain our energy. And so it allows you to keep your energy, to allow your big brain energy to be used for things that are actually important. One of the other things that I started doing this weekend that's a good example of this is I got really, really intentional about meal prepping this weekend. And I don't plan out exactly like every single meal, every single element of every meal. But what I did was, we always eat egg toast sandwiches for breakfast at our house. Like, it's the go-to, it's good protein. We buy sourdough from a cute little bakery up the street. So we always love it for breakfast. And so in order for us to eliminate some of the chaos of morning time and getting ready, and allow my kids to also be able to make their own breakfast, is I started making big sheets of eggs in the oven. And so this weekend, this was the second week in a row I did this because it's working so well. I literally cracked 2 dozen eggs, whipped them up in a bowl with salt and pepper and a little cream, and then buttered a baking sheet and baked that puppy in the oven until the eggs were done. And then I sliced it into pieces and I put it in the fridge that are in like serving size amounts to go on an egg sandwich. And so every morning now, instead of us getting out a frying pan, whipping up the eggs, all the things, like now my kids just go to the fridge, they pull out the container, they put as much, the eggs in the microwave for a few seconds, they toast their own bread, they butter the toast, and then they put together their egg sandwich. My kids are 9 years old and 11 years old. And I know in a lot of households, kids are already making breakfast for themselves by that age, but we were doing all of it for our kids. And as they grow up, and I'm learning, it does my children a disservice if I do everything for them. Right. And so we are in our homeschool tracking this year. I have a subject called life skills. And so we are proactively teaching our kids life skills that make not only their lives better and help them know how to be more independent and self-sufficient, it also helps out our household. Because if they're making their own breakfast, me or their dad, who are trying to get our own days going, we're not having to do it for them. And it allows us to take a few minutes, like, so then when they make their breakfast, I come in and we read the Bible together and we're able to talk. But while they're making their breakfast, I'm also getting myself ready so that we can, instead of me doing everything for everyone in the morning, I can instead get myself ready, take the time, do my miracle morning stuff, and then sit down with them to do a little Bible reading with them in the morning and have a good conversation instead of rushing around being crazy. Okay. And so that for me, that's a 1% better. If my kids can do that and we can start our day right, that is absolutely a 1% better type of habit to implement. The other thing that I was doing, that I did this weekend, is I roasted a bunch of vegetables. And some of you that are amazing at food prepping, like, good on ya. I am such a fan of this. My sister is amazing at meal planning and food prepping, and I'm just starting to get better at it, because I'm recognizing that it makes our lives so much better. I found our over the summer, when we were kind of out of rhythm, that we were eating out more, we were grabbing convenience foods more, and we were just not eating as healthy, and we were spending more money. And so I was like, hey, let's reel this in. Let's get into a routine. And so one of the things that I like to do to prep for the week is make sure that all of our proteins are ready to go. And so that means I'm browning a ground beef. I'm making up burgers. If there's chicken, something that we're going to do with chicken that week, then I'm cooking the meat part of our meals. And if you're vegetarian, maybe roast the part that gives your meals protein, because that's typically the hardest thing to prep for during the week. The other stuff goes together really fast, right? Because if I have cooked protein, or if I have meat or whatever I'm putting into a meal for protein, then it feels like the rest of it kind of comes together a lot faster, and it's less messy. It's less pots and pans that we dirty, or dishes that get dirtied in the oven or whatever. And so getting ahead of that with a plan. And so we make eggs for breakfast, every morning with the sheet pans. We also, I pre-cooked burgers and taco meat, so my kids can choose between, do you want a hamburger or do you want a burrito or tacos for lunch, right? And then they are learning to cook, get it ready themselves for lunch. And what this does is it allows me to have my own priorities going on in my business. And when I'm between things, I'm checking in with them, seeing if they need anything, encouraging them, giving them high fives, like I'm checking up on their work and they're doing great. And my kids are at an age where they can do a lot of their work pretty independently, but I want to make sure that they're hearing from me too, and that it's not a frustration or an interruption for me, but that I'm able to check in at times that work for my schedule as well. And so we've put together this checklist. We've put together our meal prepping, and it's just working awesome, y'all. And so it's got me thinking, what are the other areas of my life and my business that I can create some sort of a system that will help me be 1% better, that will help me be 1% more efficient, that will help me have more energy throughout the day, because I've eliminated decisions that need to be made on a regular basis. And so some of those things that come to mind are, I need to incorporate more batch working. So instead of having to make a decision every day about what I'm going to post, that we do those things in advance all at once, right? Same thing with like reviewing email copy that's going to go out, or updating financials in my business, meeting with bookkeeper, as long as, if I can create systems around each of the areas of my business that tend to be things that I will want to procrastinate on, or that feel like it's like I'm in reactive mode instead of proactive mode. How can I become 1% better in that area, and eliminate some stress and get ahead of things that I tend to want to procrastinate on, because they're hard, right? And just like putting some key systems in place. So whether that's a checklist or a way that I have a regular touch base to hold someone accountable for what I've asked them to do, how are they reporting back to me, and how am I being super clear about what I need from them in order to not have to constantly be having communication about something? How can I make it super clear? Is there a system I can create, a video I could record that walks through it? Is there a process that's documented? Is there a checklist in place? These are all types of systems that can help us be 1% better in the areas that matter. And even better, and I just said the areas that matter, but even better is the areas that don't matter, right? Is it's like, why are we wasting time making decisions and having a bunch of communications about things that are not a big deal, or that are kind of wheel spinning or not high income generating activities? We've got to be able to systemize those things so that we have more time to spend on high income producing activities in our business. And that's the whole point for me as an entrepreneur. Is I want to make sure every week that I have more time I'm spending on income producing activities that are high value, and on activities that fill me with energy. And so if I'm doing things that are repetitive, that drain my energy, that require a lot of decisions, how can I get ahead of that? How can I systemize that? Eliminate some of those things from my calendar or my to-do list so that more of my time is spent generating income and doing things that light me up, that fill me with energy and make me feel more creative and excited about what I'm doing, and able to bring new ideas and just provide a ton of value and really be in my zone of genius. Right? And so think about that. So my challenge to you this week as you're going through your week is, I would love for you to look for pinch points in your daily life and processes. What's an area of your life that's causing you frustration or dissatisfaction on a daily basis? What are the things that are causing friction in your day, sucking your energy, or keeping you from being as productive as you would like to be? And then ask yourself, what can I systemize to improve that area by 1% this week? And then create a system or automate something that will help you be at least 1% better in that area. I hope that is helpful to you. So if you are listening today and you are enjoying what you're hearing, if something resonated with you, would you share it maybe with another women entrepreneur, or maybe even another homeschool mom who's doing the juggle like I am? But if you would share this podcast episode, like, follow, share it with a sister. And if you want to share your feedback with me or ask me a question, you can drop me a line at andreaengstrom.com. And while you're there, reserve your spot in my next masterclass. I'm super excited about it. You can hop on the list for it today. And if you are a woman entrepreneur, I want you to join my Facebook group, Bold Women in Business Sisterhood, where I share strategies every week to help you gain clarity, confidence, and make powerful connections so that you can build the business and the life that you deserve. Well, till next time, I'm Andrea Engstrom, encouraging you to take action on your dreams. You are the one who makes your dreams come true. Show up to your life with power and authenticity. Be bold, be tenacious, be 1% better. Make it happen.